My people, Isat Buchanan, Vybz Kartel lawyer, fresh from off of the Privy Council case for Vybz Kartel. The live right now and him actually has spilled some beans, my people. Trust me, this is the
Reggae
live
Global
where you don't
Radio
want to
or
miss.
the Global TV platform. Show the support, show the love. As well as the YouTube, Isat Buchanan 5419. This is Context Matters. I have a lot to talk about, but the serious topic is this. Jury, as somebody say, jury, whatever. Jury, whatever. Poison or no poison. And I'm talking about this in the context that y'all know what is happening. I must tell you or share with you that I did my my presentation before the Privy Council, like a distinguished gentleman. You know, I'm a bathe, I'm a brush my teeth and thing like that. And I had the privilege of going before the apex court. That's what they call it, the apex court. What's the significance of this? I'm so passionate about human rights. I think that when I was in the Jamaican space and you talk about human rights, that's why I tell everybody to go and watch the Bob Marley show, because you see, Rasta get a fight from way before me born. And my father, the first Rasta man, big youth, first Rasta man on stage with dreadlocks. And we live in a society where the court writes judgment and say that people with dreadlocks have right lice and jonjo. And so the discrimination is real. We can't pretend that it's not there. And they live with it. But I speak about these things as travesty of justice. Anything that makes the least among us feel like they're not a human being is a concern for me. And the Constitution is something I'm passionate about. So I have watched my speech and saw how excited I was to speak about the Constitution, and there was nothing in my way. All the anything that would have been a clog and a fetter was actually behind me. But I didn't have to look behind
Chronic
me. So
media,
whatever
big up
energy
yourself, you know,
it's behind you, you don't have to worry
people
about it.
eyes
And
that have
that's
some
just the
things
reality.
for
It
talk.
speaks for itself.
This I want to know what
I
sorry
must
for
say
disturb
though,
about
before I start
things
picking up everybody,
right now.
is
When you just like the
that's
live
one of the
same
reasons
time,
why I want to
please
talk
and
about
thanks.
it, because you see, we are sometimes we forget that we are so important, that we matter. And I'm talking to my Jamaican people, my Caribbean people, whether you're in the diaspora, there's something about us. It's not just being black, it's also where we are geographically located as original people stolen from our land and our generation. So some of us don't know that we came from the kings and the queens and the chief musicians and the architects of this world. And so it's taking us a lot of time to find our identity. That being said, there's nothing worse than being suppressed by your own. And so there's this book that I am encouraging everybody to read. It's called Animal Farm. TikTok people, I know some of you know it. My people on YouTube, I know the world knows this, Animal Farm. But there's a big thing now in the Jamaican space about independence. There's this big thing about the drive to get to a republic, and the people want to have an understanding of why your masters, because they don't feel like they are your servants, why your masters, why the political elite want to get to a republic. It's a rush to abuse. I'm humbly submitting this. And unless you get mature, the opportunity for mature consideration and proper public education. And I'm talking now to my dunce people. I'm talking to my people who can admit that I am an uneducated person when it comes to them law thing and the constitution thing. You would tell your representative, listen, speak in a language so me can understand. Make me understand what you say. So I don't care how you bright and you brilliant. Make me understand, and if me not understand, you can't get my vote for a referendum. But until it is that your rights are enforced the way that it should, your rights are reflected as our Chief Justice Sykes. Listen, I say this every day, because I am a true fan of Justice Sykes. I'm a true fan because he represents Black identity. When you see your Black brother excelling, it is for the purpose of your kids and the next generation. So you have a markers of where you want to be in your life. This is what is so important about speaking in context matters, because you want to know where the ceilings that you can shatter, the glass ceilings. Portia shattered a ceiling that Hillary Clinton never had the opportunity to do, and she's a white woman. But Portia became the first female prime minister in a region that included America, that Hillary Clinton didn't do it. And these are you, and so women have the ambition to want to be prime ministers, and your sons and daughters must have that same ambition to be the best versions of themselves. So while it is that I have full ambition to one day own a KFC franchise, so I'd have to join the line to get the barbecue chicken and these things. I have to have markers of what I want to be or where I want to be able to ascertain, to be able to reach my goals, to be able to do that. That's where we're headed. That's what we want. So here's the trick now. The justice system in Jamaica would have been thrust in the spotlight, and rightly so, by guess who? Vybz Kartel himself. So it is no wonder that there was a push to ensure that the loud Rasta boy don't get an opportunity. And so the elite class did what they had to do. It speaks for itself. I don't have to interpret, people can do. So I'm not even going to encourage anybody or incite anybody to think what the elite attempted to do. I was tried by a panel of my peers, all non-Black people who rule with a heavy hand, and I trust the justice system, and it led to where we are today. So who God bless, no man curse. But when we speak of systems, when we speak of the right to a fair hearing within a reasonable time, let me read what our Constitution says. So me want to educate my Jamaican people, and if you're not from Jamaica, Google your Constitution and see what your Constitution says about this thing, because this is what we talk. This is what was put on the world stage. How do I know it was on the world stage? I see it everywhere I go. I went into movie theaters and people said, I saw you on the stream. I'm walking on the street as a common man, and people recognize who I am. For my them, if you ever hear about 15 minutes of fame, it was literally that as the length of time that I had to make an impact in a passionate plea to ensure that the rights of 4 men who are wrongfully convicted by complete, and I'm going to say it, and I will get in trouble for it, but I'm going to say it, complete, utter dishonesty, disregard for the Constitution, a lack of integrity, gambling like this is a casino, risk-taking, desperation, evil, wickedness, Babylon system to ensure that when we got to this time in life, what you think happened? This time in life, Afrobeats has excelled far beyond reggae, because the players, the movers, and the shakers was oppressed. We've had in this, out of Jamaica, just like how we have Usain Bolt, we got Bob Marley. And people gonna say I'm biased, but do not ever count this out. I've said this in many spaces. Vybz Kartel is a national treasure. Vybz Kartel was placed in the Court of Appeal, Courtroom 1 in the Privy Council. His appeal was heard in the biggest court of the land and heard by the Chief the chief, the president of the Privy Council and the appeal court, the appellate court, and given the respect and the humanity, something that was missed and lost in other spaces, and a discussion of constitutional rights and giving effect to for us by us. Because when our charter was created, this thing that I don't leave it, I walk with it and my Bible. I don't ever leave it. So I want y'all to see it. It's called the Jamaican Constitution, but it's this particular aspect of it was bounded and given to me by Mr. Bert Samuels, once my mentor, and he said this was important. And I would have known that because I was schooled by a Tracy Robinson and nurtured at the University of the West Indies, and a skumpy school me go. So a test to show that when you speak about the Constitution, it's your Constitution. They don't know it. The Lords respectfully don't know it. But when our Chief Justice says, listen, this is homegrown. This was made by us, the people, for the people, by the people, not from our colonial masters, to have us escape slavery, knowing that when we escape slavery and on the road to independence, we had to make sure that the least among us would be treated as humans, because all of we now have money. But I can tell you, say, all the riches, the silver and gold will vanish away, but a good constitution will never decay. And the creatures of the constitution can never abuse you when the constitution is working. So what happened February 14th and 15th? The working of the Constitution, the showing up of a disgraceful moment where the constitutional rights, not now, because I can tell you this with pride and authority, that in Jamaica, the court, and you can ask the people who are always on, whether it be the Rattigan show or previously the Andre Stevens show, any one of these shows, when I appear on these platforms and we talk about the Constitution and talk about the judiciary, it works. So the complaint being made on the Vybz Kartel case was when the charter was just changed. Is when we were getting rid of the wickedness and the bad mind and the corruption. Corruption still there, and it's in your parliament. The six don't come out yet, but the corruption within the police force, the use of the man's phone, the tampering of technological information, and then you have we soon talk about the jury. When you put people who deal with police, husband and wife upon the jury, or the police were responsible for security, soldier upon the jury, woman will sleep floor but her man a police, and the mix up, and then woman will own funeral parlor where walk up the street but had a cell phone, and she's the this and she's that. All of them mix up here going, real thing. And these things is what is the other side of the game. And so the right to privacy now is get your privacy, breach your privacy, then scandal you. It's called ad hominem. Scandal you and use information to shift the narrative in the public space and speak about circumstantial things that don't necessarily have inescapable inferences. But why I say all of this? Because a jury of your peers is all those things that I tell you. But the key aspect of it is a properly constituted jury. That is what we must think about. A properly constituted jury. So I go back to it now. And our Constitution, Section 16.1 says, whenever a person is charged, it's with a criminal offense, he shall, unless the charge is withdrawn, be afforded a fair hearing within a reasonable time by an independent and impartial court established by law. You see that? Independent and impartial court. People must ask themselves, what is the independent and impartial court? Well, At the time, it would have been the jury. At the time, it would have been the judge. And at the time, it would have been how the process works. The defense attorneys come in and the prosecutor is there and all of that. So,
Chat, sorry for disturb, but drop
4
some likes
men
on the live,
charged for
please.
murder, not capital murder, murder simpliciter, and information collected, collated, and sorted by the police in breach of the Interception of Communication Act. And the Constitution, this Constitution, the Charter, and through the Charter, it says that to use this information, if it's not collected in the manner that the Charter prescribes, it must be demonstrably justifiable in a free and democratic society. That's the crux of the matter. Now, within this demonstrably justifiable in a free and democratic society, they said it's not. We don't need that. Them don't need that. Them boy don't need that. Them definitely, and we not do it. And the judge says, "Aren't you daunted?" Says to the prosecutor. He was in court today. Aren't you daunted by the fact that the people now have a powerful constitution that shifts the burden on you to tell us why you breached the right? And we know how it works, because there's a case. There's a woman who had her cell phone, her son was murdered, and they wanted the code for the phone and all of that, and they go to court and all. They had to go to court, and then a judge does the test. So just like how it worked for Uptown, it must work for the ghetto youth. But it never works so for these 4 men. We go to the Court of Appeal and they say, well, but mind you, Charter young, people don't really interpret it yet. It came out at the time when
lot of corruption,
Constitution get nice when I was in law school. So we get a different type of training. We grew up knowing that the Constitution was the done of all done. So all this one done and skeng done and done done and all Stefan done. Yeah, the Stefan done ain't no done like the Constitution. Them kind of things there. Right? It's all I said, the kingdom come from, not Jada. You know, the kingdom, not Jada. You get what I'm saying. And yeah. And we ain't talking about Will Jada either. But you get where I'm going. So with all of this now, growing up knowing, as in growing up meaning in the law, and knowing the importance of the Constitution, know about the importance of equality, the importance of treating your brother horizontally, with respect and human dignity. Everybody has that right. That was what was deprived for these men. And coupled with that, after that conduct, here comes the jury now. Incident number 2. Woman say, my son say him there jail with them. Because guess what? You know, everybody picnic can do no wrong. We see it on the TV every day. When the police murder them say, "My good youth, him not do nothing." Yeah? When you go around, you kill everything, and then when you dead, the news people report that you're a businessman when you's really the murderer. And all of that. But I'm not assassinating the character of dead people. I'm just saying is when, for the purposes of creating a narrative, we do all kind of things and try to make people, bad people good and good people bad. And that's why when you try to defame people, you find yourself apologizing. Or sometimes you just have to apologize because you don't want them beat you and kill you, because also then go on when them ready. And you must have self-check morality. You must know what suits you when you are doing what you're doing. So the key to that now is to not fall into the narrative of who's saying what. It's never over till the fat lady sing. But I can tell you this, man, the Bible don't lie. When God sent Moses for him people, him did know say he was going to put Moses in the same castle, the same palace as the future Pharaoh. And that future Pharaoh was going to have inferiority complex, because this Pharaoh had to be in the trenches. The Pharaoh is not of the ilk of Moses because he was raised beneath Moses. So when you can't be in the as the ilk, when you can't do the law, you have to be in the trenches. And to be in the trenches, you have to delve into nepotism because you can't respect the law when you're in the trenches. The trenches is dirt. The trenches is a pigsty. So anywhere in the space you hear somebody say, I am in the trenches every day. Because the executive, you can ask the parliamentarians when the only time you see them is election time, they're not in the trenches. That's why you need the councillors for to be in the trenches, and the MPs drive around in the big cars now and then from time to time because they're too nice to be in the trenches. That's what we mean. So you say you're in the dirt and you're on the ground, you're the foot soldier and you're proud of that. It just means that you're not dealing with the legal aspects. You're just a doer and a push your agendas. You're not. Yeah. That's what trenches mean. So you lose respect for the Constitution. You lose respect for the system, and that is what will cause a situation where a jury is tampered with. So let's talk about hypotheticals, because that's all we heard from the side that wants to say that everything was justified. To justify breaches of the Constitution, you say, let's get into the minds of people. Now I can tell you this, you can't get into my mind, because things like, here's what I'm doing my speech, and I don't know if I was hungry, but I said, Tom Tavares, KFC. It's only people who come on Rattigan show will know, say, will definitely find it hilarious when I say KFC. Say Isat must think about barbecue chicken, where I'm just get up out of nowhere and start to talk about KFC. So you definitely can appreciate that from thinking about KFC or thinking about KFC. Nobody's gonna just pray and think that you're a madman in that space or in that context. Now, if one were to think about, I'm seeing that this thing frees up, but I still have to continue, because that is what I have to do.
Oh, Monsieur, minded
nonetheless, when it is that, all right, say I'm back. Sorry about that. I was talking about, I don't know how I said Tom Tavares KFC. The good thing is I had a conversation with him, and I'm using this platform to say I give that man his flowers. This man says, and I'm saying this now, and I know I'll have an opportunity in other spaces, but when I said Tom Tavares KFC, there was a response behind me that I gave no weight to, because I wouldn't understand that Tom Tavares plays two roles. He is a senator, he's a lawyer, King's Counsel. So when he's in court, when he as the first instance lawyer says to the judge, it is your dilemma. We have a constitution and the rights were breached. It is your dilemma. Here's why you can tell a judge it's his dilemma. And those are nice words for, go and go read it, because I make the law. I sign the law. I make the law. I write it off as a senator. The law you are reading now, we have the doctrine of separations of powers. So the legislator is different from the judiciary. So I am the legislator, and I'm telling you, the judiciary, go learn it, go read it. Because you breach it, I write it, I know it. So he did enough to save and preserve that aspect of it. Now, why is that important? Because, well, I'm just addressing that. I had the conversation with him about calling him KFC, and he understood. He understood that it wasn't disrespect. So there are some people who you can just take up the phone and call them, and they'll be quick to write up paper to get you in problems. But he understood that, and in especially, like I say, I guess when I own my KFC franchise and I'm a belly big, because I am too much KFC, people understand. But that is important, that you understand what the constitutional rights is. So the justice system is a hierarchy. And so if you don't get justice at the first instance, your rights are preserved, because that's why they call you an appellant. Although you're convicted, the conviction is not final. So the people will speak and talk about you and class you. But many persons, last year there were persons who were in prison for life and the convictions were overturned. But same thing by myself and Mr. Clark, where we at the Court of Appeal level. So I'm telling you, the court in Jamaica is operating with respect for human rights. I say that with no apology. So they can be upset with me, but you're not gonna find a judge who sit on the court and they not consider the Constitution right there and then. You might not like the decision, but at least when you're appealing it, you have something to review. In this situation, there was nothing to review. And that was the crux of what I had to say to the lords at the Privy Council, is that they gave you nothing to work with. A constitution so fresh and so clean, with all of the niceties to protect you as a Jamaican, and the way of the constitution posh, you're supposed to stush. Yeah. So for those who say I gesticulate too much, when you're talking about the Constitution, you have to be careful not to do too much with your hands in relation to the Constitution. So you have to keep far and contain yourself. I'll say it that way. Otherwise, you find yourself rushing legislation and just disrespecting the Constitution. Trying to say it right this time, because I don't have $500,000 to give nobody. Anyway, so after saying that, we're now at the Court of Appeal, and in their judgment, they had some critical paragraphs. So if you're really interested, you can go to the judgment and you look at paragraph 209. It was said today, and the videos are out there circulating. So go for yourself. Look at 209. Look at paragraph 238. That's the clincher. And I have a bet with my client. One of us, well, him lose a bet there already, because by the time, you know, when you know what I say, by the time them things are done, tattoo done dep on hand. So yeah, somebody gonna be a follow fashion. So anyway, moving from that. So from day one, you see these things, and you know for sure there's nothing more intriguing than knowing when you know something is wrong. You have an internal locus of control, so you have a feeling when something is wrong. And when you hear people who can't really articulate themselves, police running, shoot 14-year-old, and they say, no, this wrong, we want justice. That is the call of somebody that is aware that their constitutional rights, their right to be treated like with humanity, is lost. So right there and then is the crux of what I'm getting at. And so day two comes. Not really talk about the case, save and except for day two comes. Day one horrible, obviously, for we don't know. But day one not going so well, because it's difficult to argue. It's difficult. Women, it's difficult to say to you, you shouldn't work. You shouldn't work. You shouldn't be in the workforce because you're a woman. So in this particular situation, as a woman, you should stay home. As a woman, you shouldn't do certain things. Well, it's the same thing. Black people, you shouldn't be treated as a human being in a white society because you're black. You're not like them. And it's hard to justify that. It's like saying we need to get back to slavery. Slavery is right, because if you read the Bible right enough, you should obey your masters. If you read the Bible right, you must obey your politicians and vote the color where your community is or lefty place. So when you think of it like that, or short people, tell them wicked to as a short man, 5'11", never really get the 6. The people 6 and over, them hype. But the only thing hyping at them hype is them high, but nothing else. But so I have like 3, my mother have 4 sons, 3 of them gone way over the 6, 6'3", 6'4", I think one of them 6'5". I used to say, boy, I'm short, but go to St. Thomas and check a Oberman, and the Oberman say, get your antennas up. Make sure say your rust grow long, and make sure you have the vibrations and things so the energy can go into your brain, because it's important. Say, yeah. So rather to be short and bright than tall and dunce. Yo, if my brother them beat me up, I have to dead for me, So anyway, let me leave that alone. Zambo, I'm so sorry. I know that you're bright. Marcus, I know that you're bright. Peter, you're hopeless. Yo, I guess. All right, let me stop. Anyway, so I'm just trying to identify you, markers of discrimination. I know I'm on here now, but I'm in the UK, so, and I can fight. Peter, I can fight. Plus you all know. Don't mash up your hip. Don't try me. Anyway, yeah. So I was identifying markers of discrimination is what I was trying to identify. Reggae Global people, I know they must be saying Isat on I promise you is water. But yeah, markers of discrimination. So I spoke about the woman, spoke about the black people. So there's a today for you, tomorrow for me. So when you're talking about constitutional rights, I want to make it absolutely clear. And before I left Jamaica, I said this to my clients, the importance and significance of your case, I want you to appreciate that it's not just about you. This is a transition, a monumental moment in the Jamaican society where you're either going to get rights or not have it. You're either going to be a solid victim of jumping up in the truck back, or being recognized that even if you don't have no money in your pocket, the creatures of the country, creatures of the Constitution, that's why they're creatures. They're humans when they're not in uniform or not in office, but creatures when they're serving you. And they understood it's not just about them, as albeit the benefit of freedom. The benefit of freedom is a recognition that the words on the paper is not just words on the paper, it has force. It's the done of all dons. And every Jamaican has to be passionate about that so they can say, what will not do to me? I know my rights. In countries like the United States, when you identify your rights, they leave you alone. When white people are being racist and they have a job, you say you're racist and they'll be investigated and they'll leave you alone if they are. But the burden must always be that the people must treat you with respect. But at the same time, you must not be offended by the truth. If your mouth stinks, you must go brush your teeth. And if you're ugly, there are things you can do about it. They have cosmetic surgery if you're really not easy on the eyes. And life is so funny because the people around me, like my brothers that I talk about, if I start put on weight, them tell me say belly big and you don't look good. So I have a unit that can make me know to self-check. And I'm conflating the two so people can understand that there are times when you will be offended, but it's not a breach of your rights. But there's times when there are persons who are serving you, go on spaces like this and say things about you, find themselves. I heard that in the paper today, some minister had to apologize to some FBI guy because the lawyer wrote them. And I was like, wow. You have your big job and you're gone on show and behaving like Isat, and well, you're not gonna lose your position because you're with the elite, but you're behaving like some lawyer down there and speaking out of turn. So it pays, especially if you're defaming people. But back to the importance of what I'm saying. We know at the rights aspect of it, and this is key. This is so important. We now have a jury, 12 of them. Let me show you what a jury used to look like. Who can tell me, and I'm stopping to look at the comments now, who can tell me what's missing from a jury like this? Because back in the days, this is what a jury would look like. Let me try read the comments. Alison, Guy to Williams, Diana Atkinson, Jamaica Vibes, BCA, Rabbit Teeth. What kind of name that? Kevin, talk to me. What you seeing? See, LLC say no females on the jury. One time for vote, you did have to have land. So no black people not upon them jury because black people never have land. So the concept and idea of the jury from the time of the Magna Carta was that distinguished white men who were noble and who were peers in a society would be the ultimate judges, albeit not from the law, but judges of the facts. And so your peers would have been distinguished gentlemen who would be able to make decisions about you. That's who they were. And so when I was getting my training and my training to speak distinguished, because there was a thought that, you know, as an island boy, you need a little vibe to speak. So, you know, you had to try to ensure that you speak dignified and speak like the floor that you sit on, you know, and a little frumpy to ensure that you get it right. But anyway, outside of that, one would realize that a jury of your peers or charter, make sure it not say jury of your peers, you know, it say unless the charge is withdrawn, you're afforded a fair hearing within a reasonable time by an independent and impartial court established by law. So the jury not have to be your peers. So when you go in a court and you see the helper come in and you see the same Sky Juice man where you never want to get $1, and you see the office manager and you see the JP from Upper Seoul, you know, and you see a doctor and an accountant, and you see somebody from Upper St. Andre, a wife. She usually becomes a foreman because she not work. But she know to swipe a credit card because the husband at work. And he sometime asleep with the helper, so you know that go. So she don't come in on the jury. Well, but anyway, that type of yeah. So the jury is a panel of the days of our lives. So that's why you have secrecy of the jury room, because if you don't know them, they're just people who are citizens that have a right to act, and we have a jury act that says it. As long as you're not mad, as long as you not contact the dead, and as long as you don't go St. Thomas and you get the frog and you put the lock in the frog mouth and you lock it, and you get the dead man bone and you say behema, and you get the bottle of white rum and you remember quick cream soda. As long as them things are not going to forget the verdict, you're good, and you pretty much know, say, you don't have nothing to worry about. But the complications comes in now when the judge has to balance who is on the jury, because you have a constitutional right to a fair trial. So the jury who are going to be the judge of the facts, they can't be biased. And then you have implicit bias and you have explicit bias. You have the conscious bias and subconscious bias. These are the things that is faced within this trial. Now, everybody know, in them days there, me can't think of one person who don't know Ramping Shop. It's kind of like in the 90s, all babies were made from R. Kelly. Well, in the 2000s, if you're a 2000 babies, chances are wherever your parents came from, they listen to some Vybz Kartel, so that's how you got here. Anyway, moving from that, that jury was made up of people who were being bribed from as far back as November. You would have heard the respondent, that's the lawyer for the prosecution, says, listen, the man is corrupt. One juror is corrupt. One juror is convicted of trying to attempt to pervert the course of justice. That's bribing. But this man used to went to lunch with them, knew them from even before the first juror came off. there was it. And none of them from November to March, to the 13th of March, none of them don't go to the judge. You get bribed from way back in November, and none of you know don't listen to oath and signal nothing. But them saying you must pretend that those persons is not listening. And that is a matter for just the common man with common sense to understand that don't feel right. Because justice must not only be seen to be done, it's not just justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. So when people said that don't look right, that's the starting point. So if you want to convict somebody, you must do it legally. It's almost like you can't two wrongs don't make a right. And to ask that you waive it, waive my wrongs because that person is wrong, is the most kindergarten response and an absurdity in the law. A lack of respect for what we as Jamaicans decided to do to protect. Somebody say, Isat, what does your peers mean? Is it race and status considered? All right, so if Queen was here, in Jamaica, everybody bad, poor. Your peers is everybody. We drive on the same road from the same road as you. If you're a Jamaican, you are my peers. Whether you try out of many, one is your peers. The thing is, you have to identify discrimination. You have and remember, there are a lot of broken people in society. A lot of broken people. And I'm wanting people to appreciate this. I want people to appreciate this, because I hope it's not a situation where I'm gonna have to change the battery in my camera because I see my camera gone. But I want people to appreciate this aspect. No, it's me turning it off. Come here, an idiot. Oh yes, me an idiot. All right, yeah. Camera change. Look like the other one gone. Yeah, but it's a good thing. I have a backup camera. Yeah. So I want people to appreciate that aspect of it. That is your peers. Now, going back to going back to what I was saying about your peers, going back to what you're saying about the jury. So this bribery was going on from as far as back. And so here are hypotheticals. Suppose you get bribe and you get a little money and you get all of $500,000 and you say, yeah, man, I leg of the people them. If it's a good little scammer, you want to just get away. What you do? You just come off of the jury and leave the people them. These are hypotheticals. I'm not accusing. I'm just showing you why it is absurd to assume that 10 people. Me don't think say you can find 10 people and put them in a one room and do all of them righteous. I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. I'm not even going to assume that. What is important is that fair trial has to have a higher standard than speculation. And so, what if that happened? What if she said, "Me get the $500 from the man and I just run left them," and she come off of the jury, make up a story? Or what if they say, here's what we're gonna do for trick them now. When we are gonna split up the money, and what we are gonna do is you are gonna go off first, and then we're down to 11, and then on the end of the day now, while the judge are run off him mouth, we're gonna just go on like say we are tape each other. What and then me I go in there, cause I nice him up already, saying believe in me, cause I'm sweet. And so me I go just go on like say, you would do it, and then him I go just discharge me. And then when we go in and I tell him, yeah, cause them bad mind me, as me's the one where me's the foreman. So and me are the done upon the jury. And you hear the judge say, me not discharge anybody. You run in and you said, rotted. Him now let we go so we can't split up the money. What we gonna do now? All right, here what we gonna do. And them lock we in the room and him say police outside. And what we gonna do? All right, so here what we gonna do? We're gonna just find 4 of them guilty and Lego one of them. Which one of them you gonna Lego? The one where them not really talk about. Cause you see them all them are technological. Me never even have one cell phone where me can use, much less know about them something. I never even know if to turn on video. Cause if you know anything about phone, we are in our year this 2024. And if you buy a smartphone and you're foo like me, phone smart and the way of me dunce. Look, me have camera where me I look on and the next one gone, me don't even know where I go on. I mean, my brain will hurt me. Because me are the fool, but the camera them smart. Anyway, I'm just giving you hypotheticals. What sounds wrong with that is I did it because I know if this is when people go back and watch this, they're going to say, oh my God, how could he say these things about these people? But that's the exact point. You cannot call on a court to speculate what would have been the minds of these distinguished men. You just simply can't do that. It's kind of like this. Let me show you why context matters. Sorry, TikTok, you're not seeing this, but you should be also looking at Isat Buchanan 5419, the Context Matters channel. Know the work rules, right? Here's what's appropriate. Possibly if you're the boss or if you're, I don't know, looking at the picture, you don't have to say it. This is how speculation works, and this is why they say context matters. Because Jay-Z goes up at the Grammys and he says, Beyonce deserves the Grammy. Oh, she's my wife. Blue Ivy, yeah. I run the Super Bowl, whatever. And he says Beyonce should get a Grammy, and the person says, "Oh, so you're so sweet, it's all right." But when Kanye West say Beyonce deserves the Grammy, everybody say, "Yo, call the paramedics, call the psycho people." Kanye, he might lose his mind again. He's losing mind again. And so it's not what he said, it's who said it. And when people say it, they come at you differently. So, and this is why we know that context matters, because sometimes the truth is the truth and it's offensive only because some people, when they say it, they're not supposed to say it. They are not supposed to be the one saying it. How dare you say it? How dare you be the one to say it? And we are rejecting the fact that you are the one who's saying it. See, yeah, so I'm putting that out. Anyway, so what we're faced with now is the judge ultimately could not discharge the poison. And that is what we were talking about today, having a poison. So you ever buy grapes? Or you ever buy a bag of fruits, a bag of orange, and one of them spoil, and it rests on the next one, it makes the next one rotten. And that's why them say, rotten grapes spoil the whole bunch. The same thing. Anything rotten, you put something rotten around things fresh, it contaminates it. And if you leave a rotten grape in a bag of grapes and you leave it, it ferments, and then after it rotten and all of that, the drunken people them turn it in a wine and then them drink and drunk. And then when them drunk, them get them 30 pieces of silver and then them turn Judas. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. You get the point. I don't have to get too much into that. Save on to say that you must know, would you want, it's almost like this. Jamaica have a scamming problem. Would you want a scammer upon your jury? Would you want that, knowing it? It's almost like this. Let me show you this new standard. Let me give you the new standard because I want you to appreciate this. Uno no say 6 people in a parliament corrupt. Uno don't know them name. Uno really all right with that? Because that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. And the court sanctioned that. So that is why in the Jamaican space, certain things don't matter. Can you know say somebody, but me them have strength for? Me will do my time and finish my time, and years gone. Years, so much years gone. To my age up there like Moses, the way of me whole. And you talk about things me do when me did young. Yeah? And then say, oh, you shouldn't be in the profession. Oh my God, how them have him in the profession. And you read the comments and them say, yes, yeah. What them say? Why? All them have him in the Privy Council talk and him a convict. What a thing. Yeah, this sounds so stupid. But when you know what you know in a profession, but you can have 6 corrupt people in the same parliament. I own a friend. When you know what, it's a problem for people because it offends the moral standard. Because people know and identify. That's why you see me. You see, if he's a drunk, me want to say he's a drunk. So in the white room there and you say, yo, me I forward it and me lock up my white room. If he's a thief, me want to know he's a thief. Just ask Jesus. Because he knows that Peter is a little fraud and did I gonna deny him. Here, Peter. Is it me? Oh no. Jesus said, you see when the clock strikes 3, you are gonna deny me. And when the people when them say, run, boy, run. Well, come for Peter. Peter said, I don't know him. Don't mix me. I don't know him. And no, I'm not talking about Peter Bunting or Peter Phillips. I'm talking about Peter that was walking around with Jesus. But not never sweeter. Here, doubted Tom. Is it me? Oh, no, you, Tom. You doubtful. Don't worry about yourself. Here, Judas. Is it me? Jesus saying, Lord God. I should have just take my sword and just chow. Anyway, but Jesus put on the sword. But him did go pray and him said, God, take this away from me because I can't believe my good brethren are going to betray me for 30 pieces of silver. Because then we take the money. So it's good. Jesus knew. And so the 12 disciples represent the 12 jurors who are juror of your peers. That is the key thing about it. The 12 disciples represent the 12 jurors of your peers. So it tells you that in the disciples, at least one of them are going to sell out. At least one will sell out. And so what it is the most important thing is that you must get a fair trial because it's you. So when you hear things that talk about, I waive it and I took the gamble. Took the gamble with my life. You took a gamble with my life and you're asking the apex court to respect that you are a gambler. Because if you gamble with my life, you will gamble for 30 pieces of silver. Anybody will tell me say them a gambler, me no want them around my money because it look like a SSL you come from. And if you declare yourself a gambler, you should resign from your position. How you think about that? It sounds wrong. And so here we have a poison that was allowed to stay and fester. And if you know anything about people, just put them in a room and poison them. And you see the result of that. That's it, That's it. But I digress. I'm not here to speak about politics. I'm here to speak about context matters and to be careful about the words that you use because they can be emotive. Yes? Because right now, suppose I say, yo, I'm on the KFC boss, but done a KFC. Me run every KFC around in the place. So it's when it come to barbecue chicken, not even the pan chicken man them can come test me. Call me a KFC boss. Yeah. It's context. Just saying I love barbecue chicken, but no. Leave it to them. They're going to say, oh my God, he's running a chain of restaurants and we have identified from our intelligence that gang is red and white them use. And them have a branch in a crossroad, 2 in a half a tree, 1 pan Red Hills Road, 1 pan Boulevard. Them have 1 in a Mountain View, and them have 1 down a roundabout, and them have all 1 in the airport. And so it's a big organization all across Jamaica. And our intelligence says for that we must charge them for hunter gang. All the work of them wear red. It's a big organization. And what them do is to make the people them line up and take them money and them give them the product. That is how it works. And then when you find out, say, I just chicken, you say, well, keep them anyway, because we need a second bite to try to ensure that we do our job, because we never do our job because we were overzealous and we overcompensated and tried our best to ensure that we breach rights, because this is a monumental moment and it will look good on the record. Yeah, that aspect of it. And so I'm just sharing this because I set the stage to talk about just basics. Because I tell you this is it's 4 years. It's really more than 4, but 4 years as lead, as a person responsible, not just a researcher. Because my independent research paper in school was jury, so I pretty much put this into existence. So when you prepare, you kind of know it. Now, I read more than 2,000 cases all across the world. I've read every constitution, as long as it's in the English language, for comparative purposes. Jamaica is the most superior when it comes to charter. I ask anybody to challenge me on the charter now, and not if they change it and the people don't vote. And I've never seen in the modern common law, when constitutional rights mattered, when slavery ended, when black people started to be treated like human beings rather than just breeding horses. And I can tell you this, even today, black man, you're not supposed to be intelligent, but just make sure, say, you can lay a pipe and you can do this. A plumber, put it in context, and make sure that if you're a carpenter, you can, anyway. But to be more precise, and pedantic and exacting now, never in common law, and not in my lifetime, has there ever been a poison placed on a jury, a corrupted person that we know are corrupted, like 6 people in parliament that we know are accused of corruption and are allowed to stay there by process and procedure. Never has that happened when it comes to a man's liberty. A man's liberty is at stake, and corruption is what was used to send the 4 men to prison. You see how Jamaica corrupted? Corruption was sanctioned, and you witness it for 2 days. They beg for corruption to be certified. Corruption, they took corruption out of Jamaica and brought it to the streets of England and walked into the apex courts of our land and said, these are our submission. Corruption can be allowed to stand. We turn a blind eye to it because that is what we want. That's what we want for our nation, to be allowed to let corruption stand in pockets. And even when we know, provided in a particular situation, people we don't like, people from a certain area, we can deal with them, and we should have that power. If that is not dangerous, I don't know what danger is. If that is not concerning, I don't know what it is.
Chat. When I need to turn up the likes, man.
It is in that vein that I just want to talk to people who don't. I don't want to get bored of me quick,
Get rid of the corruption.
So I don't want to lose or distract people, but to say that we're going to talk about the jury. We're going to talk about ideally, because sometimes some people taste your spirit, and you have to sit down and say, more time you have to say, yo, man, do something, But then you think, can't go lay down the people them dog kennel. It's not like America, where they actually have prison conditions that are conducive in the federal space, or it's not like Denmark or spaces where actual white people live and they have to make sure say they don't breach human rights. But the conditions is not in a place where you would have to respect yourself. So you don't even want to thief a mango because they're gonna treat you like you did commit a murder. You don't want to do. You don't want to. You don't want to lose your conscience. And the thing about it is, that's one aspect of it. Because if you put it in context, there are people who say, "Yo, this are me and this are what me I gonna do no matter what." And so these things aren't deterrents of crime. And these are the conversations that we have to have. But to have these conversations, the system must be a working system without the possibility of cracks in the system that um cracks in the system that would allow the common man. And when I say common, I'm not talking common like common foul, but the man, a simpleton. A man who say, I don't want much, I just want to do my 9 to 5. I just want to work my $13,000 a week. And I just want, when Friday come, I just go in on my KFC line and get myself a meal deal. Can't even afford a big deal. So one piece of chicken for me and the thigh or the breast for the daughter. Because she can't cook. Now yam for her man anyway, because I don't want her poison me. Them kind of things there. So for the simpleton to look on, and when he looks on, he says, you don't want nobody take away from your simple life. And you look on and him said, boy, because the country me living in, it's a place where I know, say, if I work hard and I do my best, I will have pride and joy, and I can have hopes and dreams. And if I miss the boat, my kids will probably make me proud one day. Because that's what happened. Bob Marley mother have 9 kids. Bolt mother have 9 kids. If that and look what came from that. Do I need to talk about the Jacksons and Serena Williams and her sister them? And the Tony Braxtons? Whole heap of picnic. You must get a star when you have whole heap of picnic. So then the nurse lady would not say, oh, the Jamaican people them stop have picnic. Because if it was busy procreating, you probably wouldn't be out there committing crimes. But I digress. I don't know. Maybe I'm no authority for that. But the point I'm making is, and we're at the commercial break, so I just really I'm gonna have to break, and then we pick this up back. So let's just let the time pass.
The G say, I'm on commercial break, my people.
Yes,
so I want to think about these things. All of this will happen right now.
All right.
Based on what he must say, it's a high possibility Vybz Kartel is going to walk free, my people.
While that happens. So as I said, I want to talk to you guys about the jury. So even while they're on the commercial break, is a good little way to go. So I think it can work. So the jury system now. So I have said a lot, but it's context. And as I said, in the context, and because I know people like to cut up and snip up. So let me make something clear. Speculation is a dangerous tool. It is not based on facts. It is based on too many hypotheticals. It's not even circumstantial. It is completely ludicrous. It's like people in speculation, you can include aliens. You can include teleportation. You can include time travel, because you speculate say so it would have happened. So if somebody don't come by plane and them don't come by boat, them teleport. You see me? You overs. You understand? You overstand. But with speculation, it is a problem. So here's the thing. Jury trials, and we're back. Reggae Global Radio, you're listening to Context Matters. And if you're joining from YouTube, welcome. If you're on the TikTok, big up yourself, tap up the screen and share live. Anyway, yes, that's correct. 2 to 3 months. Well, we get it at we're not rushing the lords. They will do what they have to do. and they have a reputation to always be on time, because delay is also a part of the constitution. A breach of the constitution is delay, and whatever compensation from the delay is a matter for the court, but they recognize that. So the jury trials are already an essential part of fair trial rights. So the right to a fair trial means that if we are charged with a criminal offense, or if a public body is making decisions that impact our right, this has to be fair. So a fair hearing is what has to be fair. You must get the opportunity to be heard. Once you get the opportunity to be heard, you can't go wrong in a life. So let's look at this now. I always on Context Matters talk about Socrates. So Socrates, when he made his final address to the jury before being led off to prison, he warns those that sentencing him, they will hereafter be blamed for putting a wise man to death. So even in days of the philosophers in Athens, that people were being wrongfully convicted. And they said if only they had a little patience, he suggests he would have died without the help. After all, he's already an old man of 70. So sometimes you see them all, when the people them are 70, them are prosecute them and I send them to prison for make them live out the little bit of the rest of them days. No compassion, no humanity. So anyway, in his case, following the arguments, the herald of the court called on the jurors to consider their decision. So in Athens, jurors did not retire to a jury room to deliberate. They made their decisions without discussing among themselves, and based in large part on their own interpretations of the law. So the 500 jurors voted on his guilt or innocence by dropping bronze ballot disc of the sort pictured above into mark urns. So y'all can't see it, but just visualize it like Plato's cave. I've given you all the concept of that. Very descriptive. So only a majority vote was necessary for conviction. Why am I speaking about this? Well, the four men we are talking about were convicted by majority verdict. So just listen to this now. 4 jurors were assigned the task of counting votes. In the case of Socrates, the jury found Socrates guilty on a relatively close vote of 280 to 220. So interestingly, if less than 100 jurors voted for guilt, the accusers had to pay a fine to cover trial costs. If a defendant is convicted, the trial enters a second phase to set punishment. The prosecution and defendant each propose a punishment, and the jury chooses between the 2 punishment options presented to it. The range of possible punishment included death, imprisonment, loss of civil rights, i.e. the right to vote, the right to serve as a juror, and the right to speak in the assembly. So you see, when you are convicted, you lose the right to serve as a juror. So imagine you pervert the courts of justice, and then you want to remain as a juror. The minute you pervert the courts of justice or attempt, you commit a criminal offense and you should be removed. It's not rocket science. But the reason the judge didn't remove the man is because if he moves the man, he has to discharge the entire jury. So he's placed between a rock and a hard place, and his decision, I don't think persons can say that that decision would have been one in contemplation of fair trial rights. That is the argument that is put there. So naturally, Socrates, he was sentenced to death. He chose death, and he died by drinking hemlock. Because who wants to live in a world where people just don't have no respect for human rights? But the difference in the modern time is the people no makes you have to stay alive and fight for your freedoms and your rights, because there are many before us: Marcus Garvey, Paul Bogle, Sam Sharp. Some of them died, and they had to fight for our freedoms, for us to now be doing that to our brothers and sisters and being unfair to them. So Lord Camden quoted in Rosemary Bell Antoine's Commonwealth Caribbean Law and Legal Systems that trial by jury is indeed the foundation of our free constitution. When you take that away, the whole fabric will soon mold into dust. You hear that? It is indeed the foundation of our free constitution. And when you take it away, the whole fabric of the justice system mold into dust. So in recent times, the jury system has come under a lot of criticism, and certainly for this one, it will be, however, argued that for all the drawbacks, there are stronger advantages supporting the retention of the jury system and a lack of adequate alternative, and shows that a common law community, we are not quite ready to abolish the jury system. So there was a whole talk by a famous journalist that if this case wins, Jamaica will abolish the jury system. I don't think so. I think legislators simply have to legislate that if you tamper with the jury or there is jury tampering, the trial continues with judge alone. That's what happens in England. So it preserves the jury system, and if you really want to be tried by a jury of your peers, you won't tamper with the system. So according to the Ministry of Justice of Jamaica, persons accused of certain crime acts are judged by a jury of their peers, a practice inherited from the British jurisprudence. A jury is a group of people drawn from civil society and who bring their common sense, experience, and wisdom to the matter of determining the guilt or innocence of a fellow citizen. This is done because of the belief that these jurors understand the nuances and idiosyncrasies of their society and bring their collective experience to bear on a trial. The trial by jury ensures that the citizens of a state are accountable to each other for decisions made rather than to a government-appointed judge. So in other words, the basis for a jury is that it is a representative cross-section of the local community and therefore is more likely to judge in line with generally accepted values of the society. So jurors represent diverse backgrounds and therefore individual prejudices are likely to be neutralized. So justification for trial by jury is naturally what you would have heard just now. So what are the criticisms? Well, the first kink in the system is the selection process. With a wide list of exemptions, this results in a narrow pool of eligible persons who can be selected to sit on the panel. Most public officials, lawyers, and persons who provide essential services such as doctors and soldiers are exempted from jury service. This has an impact on the composition of the jury and raises the question whether the jury represents the defendant's peers and attains a true representation of society. So jury qualifications result in both gender and class inequality, with results in a composition which seldom represents the defendant. So you can imagine being an artist, you can imagine being a successful, and then the people who are going to come and sit on your jury, your guys and the whole gully and the whole I don't really know nothing other than Gaza and gully. Where the other people them name? Somebody help me out. Oh, you missed that interview already. There was one already, you know. You will see the update. Check it out when it happened. Vendetta, yeah, those vendetta people, and yeah, and whatever those other people are, and you can imagine they come on the jury and say, this is the opportunity for me to do good for my vendetta people and the crux people, and the general side people, and the 66 1XXX people, yeah, and the Psalms 91 people too, yeah, all of those people, yeah. Can you imagine? And they want to eliminate the competition. So could they ever really be a part your peers if they're biased and they don't indicate that to the jury? So they always talk about the unrepresentative composition of the jury is further compounded by the small multicultural societies found in the Caribbean. So another concern is inconsistencies between verdicts given and the evidence presented in court. So let's talk about that. You don't know, you can't even use a cell phone, but you bring back evidence, you bring back technological evidence in less than, you're ready for find people guilty in less than 2 hours after a 65-day trial. Some people don't even work 65 days in their life, and them can come and talk, them are gonna take information. I'm criticizing, so this is the criticism. So context matters. Anyway, what I'm drawing your attention to is after 65 days of trial, you get a bunch of, and here I'm gonna take this part and say, Isat is so disrespectful. Uneducated people, put them in a room and expect them, and uneducated in the sense that they are not forensic experts. Their competence level in terms of technological information is a little bit superior, and so they need a lot more instructions to understand that what they're supposed to do. Compound that with a situation where there is bribery. There's a situation where they know that they will go to prison when they vote. To put it in time a different way, pressure under them, fire under them, moose tail, and then think a cool breeze. And the result is, if you stay true to what you're supposed to do, you got prison. And evidence of that is one of the man get found guilty, and them send the man got prison. Who's gonna put themselves through that? Think on these things. So anyway, given that there's a whole lot of conversation that it leads to the jury disregarding the rules of law and coming up with inaccurate verdicts. An example where the jury considered both facts and law, though erroneously left to them, can be seen in the case of Sukram, 1971, where they had to determine whether the issue of self-defense rose on the facts. A task the court held was for the judge and not the jury. So sometimes there are tasks held for the judge and not the jury, but that's not the complaints to everyone, except for when things are complicated, your peers is not necessarily the best person to assist or help you. I have to be very mindful of that and care about that. Hold on. Nicole, so why was the evidence seen bulldozer down? I glad that was raised today, but the scene was in police custody when that happened. So the best person to ask is the police. What's the next question? And these are the critiques, or these are the things that's happening that you expect to the things was raised that there was an order in the house, but the dog did dead, and that was said it. They said that there was blood, that those things not true. So we have to be careful in terms of the reality of what's in the space and what is not. But I'm not here to try no case, because I wasn't the trial attorney. Big up yourself, Mr. Tom Tavares, KFC. Mr. Vincent, KFC boss. So the perceived ignorance and incompetence of the jury is another cause for concern. In Nanan and the State, 1986, the foreman instructed the jury that a majority verdict was needed when, in fact, it should have been unanimous, as he did not know the meaning of the word unanimous. Literacy and low level of education can have a negative impact on the process of trial by jury. I'm reading from a book, so if anybody think I'm disrespecting, I'm showing you what the critique is. Can you imagine somebody come and say, yeah, we have to get a majority verdict, that's how we do it, because you see in my constituency, when we have vote out the people them, and the majority them we use, and we have to be majority on this when he's trying to say unanimous. Think on those things. Jury may place too much emphasis on their feelings. Feelings, nothing more than my feelings. And it allowed their decisions to be affected by sympathies for the defendant or the victim, instead of making their decisions on the evidence alone. According to Antoine, this leads to an unfair lack of uniformity in decisions and to an unpredictability in the law, since jury law will change from case to case and from jury to jury. So it is unlike the certainty of a judicial precedent, which followed on points of legal principle. So jurors may also be affected by prejudice and bias. And it is believed that juries are greatly influenced by the appearance, class, and manner of defendants and witnesses. For example, the negative view of Rastafarians. Jurors may be willing to let their prejudices make up their minds before the trial even begin. And trust me, it's not just jurists. I can tell you, I went in front of some people and just my Rasta alone made them say, yo, I'm the worst thing. And with 2 years, eh? So the jurors' engagement during the trial, which may be affected by boredom or willingness to be present, is also a cause of concern. So it is quite possible for decisions to be rushed because jurors want to go home. These things sound familiar? Think on these things. Yes, BCA. Yes, Lotto. Big up the rat. Yeah, the demon. What kind of name that? Sunshine. Rochelle. Yeah, you're following me. Big up my TikTok people. Why the police officer bring home the accused phone? So them days they phone did hard for buy, and Blackberry and them things there. When you have your little Nokia banger, you want to play with a Blackberry and them things there. So you take home the phone and you go to KFC and you buy a 6-piece and you say, hey my girl, may I come check you? May I bring some KFC for you? And then you yeah, you give me the ungle mengle. Yeah. So in the smaller jurisdictions within the Commonwealth Caribbean, the general problems with jury trials are often exacerbated. So local knowledge of the defendant and or the crime can lead to impartiality, and this is magnified by ease of access to new reports and even further magnified by the technological advances of the modern era. So this begs the question of how well the jury system can work in the 21st century now that the internet makes it impossible to research a defendant's or witness history. How can you ask for a retrial given the mass publicity for years with the most popular human being in the criminal justice system at the moment? Just you just let me know that. So it has been said that jury system lacks transparency as the members cannot be held accountable for their decisions as they are not required to give reasons, as in the case of judicial judgments. If the members of the jury were to behave in a perverse or improper manner, it would never be known. It may be suggested that the only way to achieve transparency in the system is for trials to be determined by a single judge or 3 judges. So these are the criticisms, and when you hear the criticisms and you see what is being discussed about the jury room, and to say after you're talking about all the cultural dynamics, it's easy, all you have to try this. It's easy to get on a bus and just say somebody arms stink. Everybody are gonna move from them, and all of a sudden everybody smell it. All if one of them. I go as far as pass gas on the bus and blame somebody in the front. And everybody got skin up them face and say they're nasty, and they don't investigate. They just believe. So everybody can just tell people. So you just can tell lie upon somebody. Just try this. Go to Portmore and let off your friend a back road and say, may I go to KFC and come back, come pick you up. And somebody just want to see you let off. Somebody just want to see you at back road, and argument done. Then somebody say, yeah, so and so hanging out at back road, and it done. You can't resuscitate your character so easily because people is gonna say that them see you doing there, and they make assumptions when things aren't so. And so that is the crux of it, that you have to, if you're dealing with fair trial right and you're protecting, remember, what's the balance? You people to say the cost of a trial. Are you a can go a trial? The cost of a trial on the state is more important than the life and liberty of somebody. Is a very horrible place to that's not a gamble, and the Constitution doesn't contemplate that. And when the Constitution made that public interest was to make sure that you're protected from that. So when I'm speaking to you all now, and I'm trying to make sure that my audience understands what we're faced with, understands what we're dealing with. Give me 1 second. Once we understand this to be the reality, you see how different instantly what we're faced with comes into the forefront. So the disadvantages can be countered by many advantages, some of which highlight the flaws in the criticism. So the most favorable advantage of trial by jury is the fact that the jury's verdict is the expression of the community's conscience. And so if that is tainted by a poison, remember, conscience is a moral thing, because if it's simple, this, if you're not guilty, why you need to bribe them? Because that's a government. If you're a helper, you're gonna say, want come bribe me? Like, I know me go to church every week. If you my boss not pay me no extra money, you know. The only time I get extra money is when me catch him a halfway tree, drop off in human. Me start get extra money if you not tell the missus. So this man, you know, I can't talk about him and give me money for Lego man. The man name most guilty. Think me a idiot, me a sense. So you see, all me now, me a go vote guilty pan them, but him a sing about ramping shop. And I them thing there, I saw me get me first, baby. That's the kind of conversation, the simplicity of the conversations. And so the helper on the jury now say, me I got take me moral high road coming. Now I'm getting at them his scheme is him come he's a 7-day Adventist. Me now backslide and me show my partner. Yeah, this is I'm giving you the cultural dynamics, because the thing, let me tell you something about a jury. Put me upon a jury and make my spirit not take you. Now me all it means a lawyer, make my spirit not take you. If my spirit not take you, you go to prison. And if me ever walk in at the courtroom and me feel like say the defense lawyer attack too strong, me just I go find the client guilty. And if me go in there and the prosecutor ugly, the client now go guilty. And if it and these are biases, and you're not required. You can't even question it. And so to deal with the taint is a problem. Listen up, context matters. May I have to make sure I bring home the point too, you know. Because some people will just get up and say, you know, say, me I come at work this morning, and when me go to buy the coffee, Starbucks lock. And so me make a coffee myself. And I saw me know say, I then commit the crime. And me now go tell her, but so me I hold me harder. Yeah, that is what we have to understand. So we have cultural biases that to ask the apex court to take into consideration. And today, I learned something profound from Lord Burroughs today, when he asked the learned counsel representing the DPP if the poison was in England, where white people are being prosecuted, if that poison ought to stay on the jury. And he laughed and he said, no, we would get rid of that poison. The thing about it is that the English law is so ahead of the Jamaican law that they would have already corrected it to ensure that judge alone. So the answer is to say we lost a trial because our legislators failed to put into place a position. I remember this trial took place in 2013 or something like that.
Over 1,000 people
or
on the live.
Whenever.
Please and thanks
And
support the lives. Bring it up to 500 likes, please.
About that? Yeah, what is important of that? What is important about that? And I wanted to appreciate this is the legislators haven't corrected
don't be
it.
corrupt. About the light button.
And so we're the thinkers, the movers, and the shakers. We know they can correct legislation.
Don't corrupt by this.
Me can tell you this. Them can just come tomorrow and say we're going to legislate and do this. People. And it happens.
About the light
especially when they have a
500,
super majority.
Please.
And I urge them to do that. They can do it right now. Just take up the English Act, look at the Act, change it. And we in law. When they did want to increase mandatory minimum, so people could have go prison for more time for possession of firearms, they just did it. When they wanted to keep the learned DPP, they did it. They do what they want to do. So a simple solution is to say, yeah, we're upholding the constitutional rights of the men, And if the legislators wish, they can do that. Simple answer. Not give us another try. One more try is all I need. I say when so them go out them do the driving test and fail, them need one more try. Or you take a common entrance and fail. One more try. Yeah.
Drop some
Can you
lights
imagine you're
people,
born
let's
and
go.
you come out and you realize your mother and father ugly and them poor? You say, one more try, God, maybe go back up in my mother something. Anyway, let me stop. The concept of the one more try is just anyway. So
I feel like
I
Isaac can become a
just
comedian
putting
as
that
well.
out there. So
Trust me.
I'm speaking to my people. I'm speaking to my Caribbean people. I'm speaking to the it's who calling me I stop. It's I start, but I stop. Keisha, as my moderator, it must be nice. Is one to laugh it. Yeah. Oh, see that right. So I'm going to upgrade from the Will Smith box and say the idea of a real trial deserve a Rita Marley box. And if you don't know what that mean, big up yourself, Rita Marley, because I tell you, say that swing there, Bob didn't really get the box there. Rita, you're large. Yeah, but you one more try. Rita Marley box. Anyway, so I'm not here to answer the questions, but the answers are there from Zimbabwe to England to many other jury systems that if we don't get the joke, it's because they don't watch the Bob Marley movie. And me I tell you cannot be in the Caribbean and don't support that movie. Forget what the critics say. Yeah, it is a story and we must celebrate our people and support our people, support the story, support Ziggy, support them, support the Marleys, because Bob Marley has made contribution to Jamaica far and wide, and support it if I even for going there go fast and find out how them just do Cindy so. I just do Cindy so, you do Miss World so. How can think that? You know what I'm saying? Just go there and get a little mix up and like it. But respect that the man was touched by God. If you're not spiritual, you're gonna miss it. And that is the thing. Natural is the mistake. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let me not depart because the what people don't understand is there is a higher power. And people, there's stars align and people get ideas, and the more things changes, the more they remain the same. And the system is what we have to ensure is corrected, so that when we are not here, our children don't go through the same cycles that we want. Can you imagine our forefathers fight for freedom only for us to abuse ourselves? Is that the type of society that you want to be in? Is that what you want for your kids and the next generation? You want the best versions of ourselves? Don't you want every young man, every young woman to strive to want to be in the halls of justice? Can you imagine a society where we are all lawyers and doctors and we can sew our own clothes and bust our own song and play basketball and netball and football and train and all of these things because we're multifaceted and multi-talented? Can you imagine if we support each other by coming to our TikToks and our YouTubes and our programs and ensuring that we use our platforms to educate and ensure that we're better amongst ourselves? We have to connect the dots, because that's what the change is about, connecting the dots to make sure that the least among us supposed to go out into the world and say, me poor, but what is this going on right here? So let me go back home. I appreciate what's going on with me. Let me go back and live on my road. That is what we're talking about. And it cannot Chronic buy me a Ferrari. Way I talk about which road am I gonna drive it on. Anyway, so what happens in the end is just pay attention at of how the narrative shift and how delay really defeats equity. Delay defeats equity. That's why when judgment day, when judgment day come, remember, some of we not gonna have no AC. When judgment day come, the AC will not be there. That's all I'm gonna say. So, in a nutshell, that sounded like it rhymed. In a nutshell, trial by jury should be kept and viable reforms implemented that ensure that it becomes an even fairer and more representative system. Juries that include all of our community's people that allow for the expression of all their informed conscience and take into account the sum of all their historical experiences simply are more competent to dispense justice. And if that justice is not always perfect, well, neither is anything else the side of the grave. All right. And Johnny Cochran says that. May his soul rest in peace. Let me make that clear. The Privy Council has not yet made its decision, and we are waiting on that. What we are discussing is the treatment of 4 sons of Jamaica who were deprived of their constitutional right, deprived of a fair hearing because of a tainted juror. No question about that. Because of breaches of the Constitution. No questions about that. And living now in the reality that we're saying, notwithstanding that, they shouldn't be afforded that opportunity. They shouldn't be afforded their constitutional rights. And in fact, here's how I see it. If you feel that way, if you're okay with that, then I should say, something, ugly people shouldn't deserve constitutional rights. Neither poor people. In fact, I feel like we should clear all the ghettos in Jamaica and just put up high-rise buildings and send those people to the bush. They don't deserve constitutional rights, and they should just go up in the truck back. That's what we need for the society. So constitutional rights should be reserved for the elite. It should be reserved for shades of brown that is a little bit on the butter pecan side, or is it caramel? I'm not too au fait with my chocolate, so I'm going to find that out. And or we need to find a way to ensure that people should wear shoes. These open toe things when your toe them don't shape good because your genetics is bad. We don't want to see no umpy scumpy feet, and those people shouldn't have constitutional rights. I know you understand what I'm saying, and some of you are from there. See, it's called chocolate pecan. Yes. But you get the point. So we have to get rid of that mentality because our space is where we live is for all of us. We didn't ask to be joined there. 10 juries still okay after 80 days testing the demon. Can't change no man mind, so bias conscious. Well, that's what you have to say. And some people are easily influenced, because I can tell you, imagine me on a jury and then a box of KFC, lunchtime come and a box of KFC. Hey, 6 piece. Yeah. 6 piece, and I tell you this. So anyway, that is the things that we have to contend with. But the bias is certainly something that we have to look at. The bias is, whether it's implicit or unconscious, is an aspect that we want to deal with across. And the bias is also on the defense side. Bias is also on the prosecution side. Bias is also on the judge side. The thing about it is that the prosecutor has a right to be biased. I'm putting things in context now. Because the prosecutor is prosecuting. The prosecutor has the file, and the prosecutor forms a view about something, and it causes them to act the way they act. I'm sure there are people in the spaces Yeah, I'm sure that will happen. One done, of 45. Yeah, those things are taken into consideration. But you must be patient, and already wait for 13 years. Already wait 13 years. Be still and know God and time. That's why that was the mantra. God and time. Don't ever forget that. Um, and it's so ironic because that's the same thing. The complaint is about pressure put on the jury to reach a verdict, and look at the whole on now ready to pressure. I said I just inbox you. I want you to help me open back my strip club. Yes, let me hear this now. What going on with the strip club? Um the message gone far. We don't see the message. But anyway, all right. Somebody over should say go segment. No. Go 2.0. Yeah, me love you, me love you. Yeah, nah, nah. Anyway, we don't want copyright infringement. Yeah, yeah. So that is what we're looking for. So I have made my submission to you, or I have attempted to speak about the right to trial by jury, the impartial jury, the independent juror, individually and collectively, and to say to you that um, we must want for people what we want for ourselves. When we appreciate and get there about wanting for ourselves equally what we want for and want that for people, that is the road to progress. And so you would have seen, I don't have to tell you, if somebody would have told me that the, my experience, just sharing with you, um the CCJ, Caribbean Court of Justice, excellent, is excellent experience. Going before the Court of Appeal, the Jamaican Court of Appeal, is an awesome experience. This experience was no greater than appearing before Justice McDonald Bishop, Justice Brooks, and Justice Straw for this very matter. So I want you to understand that the judges in Jamaica are erudite judges. I'm not pandering. I want you to understand and appreciate that the only thing you would have seen is um, advocacy before the Privy Council, and so the law. That's why justice is blind, and the scales are balanced. Because if you close your eyes and you listen to what is being said, for instance, my senior Hugh Southey, um, he's making excellent points, and I saw people making fun of the stuttering, and they missed the magic, the hot fire, Dylan, fashing wing. You missed the shots that were fired because you were worried about speech rather than respecting the information that was coming. And comments were made about when I was doing that. I gesticulate too much, and my nose too big. I must be related to Andrew. That's not the only thing that's big. Just letting you know. So anyway, these things are a distraction to the important part, and people will miss the opportunity to learn because you just have a discriminatory nature about you that you just have to fix. And I'm just imploring people to try to be the best version of yourself. Respect those who you can learn from, and respect works both ways. So you don't need to be in space where people are tearing you down, but have compassion and empathy, and give people the benefit of the doubt until those who are putting the burden to satisfy reasonable doubt do so without any taint of corruption and the taint of corruption is that not on their part, but on the part that the things that make justice don't not appear to be transparent and justice done because of it being executed in the best possible way. Not asking for perfection, but if you're going to put 12 people in the room, you discharge them for reasons that are justified. If it becomes to 11 and you have to discharge another one, then so be it. Because don't say it wastes your time, because a man has spent now 13 years in prison because somebody didn't want to waste time and resources, and now is asking to say, me save up money over the 14 years. Can we have another trial? Can we now have the resources? We found money like them related to Portia. Jada must have Jada on my TikTok. She called my name a while ago. Anyway, so that's just the reality. And so I know I started, so I really want to big up the people in the comments, Reggae Global Radio, who are watching, who are also listening. I want to say big up to you as well. Similarly, I want to just your thoughts, and I see the overwhelming support certainly today. So I know say it look like me do a little thing, and I seen that I am proud of. That's good reason for you to go and buy my music and watch my music video and tell me what you think about it. Those things. Cause you know what I'm saying? And I'm for have a little side work, Human rights law don't pay, But anyway, yeah. So to put that in context, also, we must make better use of our social media spaces to educate each other, so that we have an understanding, because it was a 14 years of misinformation being put in the media, and now with clarity the narrative has shifted in such a way that we can appreciate what it is that when somebody is a defender of human rights, the context in which they're saying that this is what I'm about. I don't think that this case is any different from a young 5-year-old Rasta girl who is now probably 11 or 12 and was removed from a school because she had dreadlocks. Or, I mean, other situations where discrimination raises its head because somebody's rights is violated for all the wrong reasons. And so those are the things that I contemplate. Albeit, although I'm tired, and although it's now 11:48 in London, I still had to share because context matters. And I just want to thank those people who support me. I want you to click the subscribe button, like and share, tell people about it, because this is my happy space, that's why I can talk to the people who come every week and share with me, so I can learn from you. And I apologize for not reading the comments as much today, but this conversation I wanted to have with you, because we are jurors every day. It might not be in the formal system, but we pass verdicts every day. Yes, I notice, and kudos to the minister for apologizing. And I will say from this platform that the gaslighting from the article is unfortunate, because certainly I never send no letter to bad up the minister. And anytime somebody is man enough to apologize, and when people apologize, we become judges, and we don't want to we will say we have a problem with the apology. But if you apologize and you mean it, that is the most important thing. Um, if we exercise forgiveness, it takes us a mile away. And sometimes God will let things happen to us. That's why I said go watch the Bob Marley movie. A man shot him and him come and ask him apologize to him and him say, yeah, Rasta love, I forgive you. So everybody is unkind to me, I always forgive them. I have no reason. I don't lose sleep at night. Might lose some KFC, but I don't lose sleep. And that too is important. So that being said, yeah, that being said, I don't know what I'm getting congratulated. Oh, congratulations for being for the submissions. Yeah. So that is the thing about spirituality. Yeah. It's God on time. You leave things to God, and you'll understand. Showing up for the moments is important. And I mean, most of you were here. So in December, I don't know what them laughing for, so the comments are lit. In December, when I was suspended with a view to ensure that I not show up for Mr. Palmer. I know that's what it was. People can say whatever. Um, if if people, yeah, but God is a dynamic God, and if it's written by God, nothing can stop that. Which is why you can have no fear, and those things had happened. So I know the importance of what the task it was for me to do, because when our court of appeal, the Jamaican Court of Appeal, gave me the opportunity to come here, they didn't have to do it. There's exercise of discretion and allowed me to be able to participate here. The appreciation is more heightened, and the opportunity. That's why second chances are important, That's why even when people get convicted and them go to jail, like Marcus Garvey, like Martin Luther King, like Malcolm X. Anybody must say Obama alone is a black man. We never have to go to prison and be great. But when those second chances, you don't make you know how important those opportunities are, and you know what your duty. You know what your duty is. And I'm just sharing that with you because there are many of you that are going through things in your life that you have to let go of, or you need that push, you need that message to make you walk into your great self. I'm not professing to be a great man. I'm saying going into your great self, because it's a work in progress, and it's a process. But also to know that when it is that, especially talking to the diaspora, when you're in the diaspora, you're representing Jamaica. Every time you go outside of Jamaica, you represent Jamaica, and you represent the Caribbean, and you represent Africa, and you represent Brazil, and you represent, if you are black, you represent everything, everybody black everywhere in the world. But national identity is also something that is important. So I share that with you, and also say that we must also learn to separate the human from the duty. And once somebody's doing their duties, the human flaws are something that I'm not saying overlook them, but to appreciate it. Like I was before I turned the this stream on, and in preparations for this show, I walked from the train station after leaving court, and I heard Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, and I said, but Whitney Houston is dead. But the night before that, I heard Bob Marley, and he's also dead, but they're so alive. and they left their stories, their legacies, their untimely demise, their success and their failures. But all what was left was the talent given to them by God that they had the opportunity to share with us. And that is what we need to strive for, to share your the opportunity to share whatever gift it is that God give you. I learned something over the last 2 days is that I love the law. Yeah. So I'm just sharing that with you. But I also love music. So I say, what somebody help me with her name. It's not Queenie. It's Pretty Done. Pretty Done asked me what me I gonna do. I gotta see if she put out a video for find out if me did do what me did for do. But anyway, so that's it. We're in the social space and we appreciate and respect everybody that's doing their thing. The space is for everybody, and so we send the support. I don't know if she's on there, but she was like, Mr. Isat, y'all go sing. And him gonna give you 9 songs. What you gonna do? So I saw the video and I found it very interesting. And curious to see how she's gonna respond. But anyway, yeah, that's it. So I want to say as we close, because the next time, no one's live. Yeah, I will know. The spirit will move me to tell you in what context and whatever. And I was laughing because every time one of the councils stood, they said, to put it in context. So I always know, that context matters because things are tangential, things are perspective based, but if put in the proper context, trust me, context matters. Yeah. So where context matters, somebody who is a cookie will be so upset if you call them a biscuit. You won't get that joke. That's so funny. Anyway, yeah, that's it for the day. So I just want to share that and thank you for the overwhelming support for All in Life video. And I'm not hear nobody tell me something look nice. And only tell me something can sing. So I gotta go work out some more. So yeah, must see that I go on. But yeah. So again, the poison. To poison or not to poison. That was the topic and the jury. I hope in discussion of the case, and remember this was a educational, hypothetical, speculative conversation. None of the views are attributed to Reggae Global Radio or they're the views of the professor as in this thing. And no, none of the views are KFC's. The only thing that KFC contributes is when you go and purchase the barbecue chicken. But it is completely, so this is my disclaimer. Everything was hypothetical and the what if similar and identical to what took place in the court, an invitation to speculate in a hope that without any legal basis or authority on the point to come to a conclusion that is an absurdity of the law. One can never gamble or negotiate injustice. One can never negotiate fair trial. And it's a right in the Constitution that could never be whittled down and reduced to just words on the page. And I need you to know that if ever you're going to respect yourself, respect that your human rights must always be valid and respected by the creatures who are put in places by virtue of the Constitution to serve you. And yeah, there's a lot more learning to do because in this space we're uneducated and we reset every morning with a view to be better. Correct? And so you guys were watching Context Matters. It does, always does. And I appreciate you guys for sticking around because you could be anywhere else, but you chose to be with me. You understand? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I ain't got no $1 billion, but we getting there, baby. So that's that. we are
Yes, sir.
officially signing out. Blessings, everybody. And I'm bigging up next week. Make sure you come back. Like, click, subscribe, declare, creed, the blood of Jesus, all of that. Yes, St. Thomas Road fix. So if you like, if not now, go and go in your life. You know what to do. All right, take care.
That's it, my people. The Vybz Kartel case is over. It doesn't pass this. Isat Buchanan say a lot. As me I say also him holding a lot because you know the case is still going because the judges haven't made their decisions as yet. So him can't say too much as well. But a lot of things got really exposed by the Jamaican system. The system is broken, man. And that are going to affect we as Jamaican citizens as well. As me I say, that need to fix. We need to be a better nation. Don't my people? Yeah, and it start with the rulers, the people who are govern Jamaica. Seems like them can't govern Jamaica. Them have to just go sell back the country to England or something because obviously them can't run it. I don't know. I'm just saying. So my people, based upon all of these evidence presented in court and how them talk and all these things, it seems like Vybz Kartel have a high, very, very high possibility of coming home. You see me I say? The way I see it, I could be wrong. I'm not a liar, so some other things fly over my head in which me not understand because obviously I'm not a liar, so we can't say this or that because one thing we know, I guess, is the best evidence who give the best statement and evidence to back it up. I just say, Gorka, remember, innocent people do end up behind bars as well, and the guilty also free. Is me I say based upon how them present them evidence and speak to the court. You know what I mean? I just say it go. So I guess we have to just wait upon what happened. What the judge them are gonna say the judge decisions. As me I said, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could take up to 3 months. We all don't know. So we just have to wait, see him way. So my people, tell me what you think about all of this in the comment section. Share your views and opinion. As me I say, once again, it seems like Vybz Kartel and the co-accused, as me I say, him friend them. It seems like them have a high possibility of coming home. As me I say, no joke about that, my people. And before we sign off, who no subscribers yet, no check if no subscribe and subscribe. As me I say, because when the news break, we are going to go live again or we are going to bring down the update over here. So we don't want to miss out on that. You see me I say? So before we go, if you no subscribers yet, you just subscribe from now. Because trust me, you don't want to be late on the news. They don't. Yeah, my people. So that's it. And I'm signing out for now. I'm not sure if I'm going to drop a video later, but I'll see. You just stick around and stay tuned, my people. Thanks for the support once again. As me I say, really appreciate the support. And I mean, remember, leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. We're signing out.